Cool. We're all recording. Amazing. So, as I mentioned, this is going to be our pretty much our agenda for the overall session today. So, I would start with setting, first of all, introducing myself for anyone who doesn't know me, and also speak about a little bit about the Makerspace, how to get involved, and what's in it for you as a new joiner. And then we have Petra introducing Saad for us, and Saad is going to be our professional coach today, who's going to be walking us through the vibe coding gimmicks and tips and tricks as well. And followed by that walkthrough, we are going to be having a quick break, obviously, because it's going to be close to 90 minutes of a session. So let's have a quick break in between, come back, break some ice with a game that Nivi has brought in for us. And then we speak about more about the challenge, and Petra is all set to get us into breakout rooms for the actual hands-on session to create our apps and take our first steps around that. Cool. Moving down. Moving on. So yeah, Makerspace is the experiential learning platform that we have built within L&D Shakers community, where we are free to practice, build, experiment, and showcase our growing skills, anything within L&D. So you can be completely new to L&D or an experienced L&D professional, but trying to create something new across the L&D boundaries, then this space is absolutely going to be for you. We are primarily focused on providing real world challenges that can help you think through, okay, this is my use case now. What is it that we can potentially crack on with, and how do we solutionize it? So at the end of every challenge, we ensure you walk away with an artifact that you can, more passionately project on your CVs or on your on your resumes going forward. And as I mentioned, any L&D enthusiast who has been experienced or without any experience, it's all in for you. And this is going to be a very psychologically safe place for you to experiment and try out things, and also get very, very critical, important feedback that you need as part of the journey. And how to get involved, if you have not already, please do reach out to us on the Slack channel. We have our own community Slack channel within the L&D Shakers Club. If you don't have an invite already, please do reach out to Petra, Nivi, or myself, and we are more than happy to get you added to the Slack channels. And this is where we tune in for every single monthly challenge that we have on board, and we take things along in terms of the work in progress, the updates, the feedback. So it's more of an engaging channel in there. And just to give you a roadmap of the how we have been projecting these challenges, we run quarterly terms, like with the schools. So we start September to November. That was our first quarter last year, and then we break. We had a break for the December on the Christmas season, and then January to March we are running a couple of challenges. The first one was storytelling, which we had in the month of January, and now we have this wide broadcasted vibe coding challenge, and we'll be breaking up for Easter, and then after that we will be coming back with a couple of more challenges before we break for the summer break. So that's how our timeline looks like. Cool. Over to you, Petra, to give a warm welcome to Saad, and we can hand it over to Saad again.
Actually, I hand it over to Nivi, who is taking over this part. So go ahead, Nivi. And this way you also get to know the team. So hello, I'm Petra. I will be talking a bit later.
Thanks, Petra and Supriya. Today's space we have Saad Qureshi joining us. He's a very experienced communication skills and coaching leader. He's helped hundreds of professionals and companies really on simplifying ideas, on telling better stories, and getting managers ready with people skills. What I personally found really interesting about Saad's approach is the focus on practice over theory, really creating kind of immersive, low theory, but high impact learning that people can actually not just remember, but also be able to use. And that connects as well to today's session on vibe coding, which is all about building, experimenting, and learning by doing. Thank you so much, Saad, for taking the time to share with us and also just guide us through the next hour. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that really cool introduction, and to Supriya, Petra, and Nive for putting together a really cool community where you can actually practice hands-on and leave with an artifact. I'm not a vibe coding expert, okay, but I've dabbled in this because I have built several prototype tools that I use in my workshops. So as a communication skills and leadership expert, my job previously was I had a global team of 200 people. So I had to become a really strong people leader and coach and think about how I frame my ideas and influence at C level because I reported into the chief executive. Then I became a leadership coach and training other leaders head of those going into director level positions. So my clients include, I train sales managers at Monday.com, engineers at LinkedIn. So I have a very diverse group of people come in. I teach them communication, framing, influence, storytelling, as Nive said. And the apps that I actually build directly assist me in that. So for example, and I'm going to show you this later. In order to teach someone a manager coaching skills and shift from telling to coaching, I built an app that I actually use in my workshops, and they do role plays with an AI avatar, and they also have a real life coaching session with their own direct report. And we put that in, we upload the session that's recorded with permission, of course, of the direct report. They upload it and they get a coaching card at the end. And what it does is it helps them understand how many questions they're asking, open-ended, closed-ended, whether they're validating, whether they're giving solutions, going into the tips, advice space rather than coaching. So if you're going to build something, it's great to build something that directly relates to how you deliver your learning and development inside the business. So we're going to be obviously looking at onboarding today. It's how to create an app or a tool that can be automated in that sense. The first thing to know is vibe coding is a made-up term. It does not exist in the dictionary. Someone coined this term. So you can't become an expert in vibe coding. Just like, if you were a singer, songwriter, if you were a Pilates instructor, if you wanted to learn how to drive a Formula One car, those are real things. Vibe coding is made up. So where did it come from? Vibe coding is a way to describe the fact that coding can now be done by AI behind the scenes without you having to write code. And it's all automated. So like your AI software engineer does it all for you. The reason why the word vibe came was because it's so easy to do. You can literally be at the dinner table vibing with your family, friends, just like I was, and giving instructions to the AI and letting it do its thing for 3 minutes and then going back. And that's where vibe coding came from. It's a very casual way of building. So there's two skill sets that you need if you want to be a vibe coder, though, or if you want to build an app. Is you need a little bit of understanding, just a little bit of software development, which I'm going to introduce you today, and a little bit of understanding about product design. And some of us may know about product thinking if we moved into L&D, where we're starting to take a more product approach to the way we deliver our programs. So those are the two skill sets that you need. Then there's a 4-step process in order to build an app at the very simplest level. The first thing is, of course, you need to understand the business needs. And we're trying to position L&D as a value creator and an engine that drives business growth, which isn't just about delivering training and being a supplier. So what is a business need? And saying as an organization, we're trying to, not just be an AI enabled AI first company, but we want to be someone who can actually deliver great experiences for our customers via our people. Once we're at the business need, in this case, obviously, it's about onboarding, reducing ramp time, trying to get people into markets and roles quicker so they can fulfill their roles. The next thing you need to do, and I know this is going to be hard because most of us want to go straight into building at the app, but that's really step 4, which is that orange bubble there. There's 2 steps prior to this. And it doesn't help that, companies like Lovable and Replit will say, oh, build an app in 2 minutes. That's all hype. And as we know, we need to test and be critically thinking about this. The second step that you need to do is build a very simple user flow. So when someone logs onto the screen on a website, for example, or when you go into Amazon, what do you come to expect? There'll be a search bar. You can enter some keywords, whatever you're looking for, whether it's toys or games or books. that will display search results. You click on a search result, you can see that you can expand certain text boxes. You can then add to basket and you can proceed to checkout. A very simple user flow, an end-to-end journey, start to end, of what the customer experience and journey will look like. So today we're going to create live, real life demo. We're going to try and create that journey. Yeah. And you're going to try and do that for your company. That simple workflow, once you've built that, and I would say try to get it down into about 5 to 8 steps, that user flow, then you turn that into something called a PRD, a product requirement document. And if you are a full-time product designer, PRDs are the most important thing for a product designer, product manager, product developer. And they work alongside engineers. Without engineers, product can't be built, and without product people, a product can't be built. So that's why I say those two skills are really important: software development and product design. The great thing is that we're going to give you a template for a PRD, a product requirement document, and you're gonna be able to use some of the prompts in there today. Then you get to building stage, that's when we go into Lovable or Replit, right? That's when you go in there and you start creating what we call the front end and then the back end. I'll explain all of that. The front end is basically the shop window, and the back end is all of the coding that does happen behind the scenes. And then the final stage, well, you kind of move between building and debugging, but debugging is effectively, even if you're a human software engineer, the first time you write the code is not perfect. You will have to debug it, and there'll be errors you didn't even imagine, certain things not happening in the right way. So debugging just describes fixing something that doesn't look quite right. A button is floating somewhere else, or when you click it, it doesn't work. That's what debugging is. You're just fixing the quality issues in the product that you're building. So those are the 4 steps. If there's any quick question on the 4 steps, I'm very happy to take them now, or feel free to put them in the chat. Does anyone have any?
Lovable or Replit? I know it's not to the 4 steps, but what do you favor more?
I started with Replit, but it was too buggy, and I left it. So I moved to Lovable now. I build all of my stuff on Lovable. They're much more user-friendly, much more customer-focused. They're releasing new updates every week. I feel like they're more in it for the right reasons, whereas, don't quote me on this, I felt like Replit was just trying to grow fast quickly and to get users. Is the user flow also?
I've recently tried the Google AI Studio. It was very similar to Lovable, so if anyone wants to try today or in this challenge as well, I would also recommend it.
Absolutely. There's a question from Aditya. Is the user flow also created using vibe coding, or is it separate as usual? Okay, cool. So I can move on to that in a second. You can use ChatGPT for that. I always build the user flow in ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini, and do that offline. Even you can create visuals, sketch some stuff out even by hand. And then, because once you give you can chat to Lovable as well, or similar tools. But once you give the instruction, it immediately starts building. So you probably want to go back and forth offline, and you probably don't want to use your credits in Google AI Studio or Lovable as well, because each instruction you give will count towards your credits. Another way Judith has worked is through iterative and layered build. Absolutely, that's so crucial. That's one of the principles, that you have to build one feature one step at a time. Cool. We can move to the next slide.
Yes.
So we have got some resources for you today. So there's about 10 key glossary terms that I'm going to give you. And look, feel free. I had to learn a lot on the job, but this is real in the flow work. And so if you in these guides, we'll provide to you. If you've got any questions, just reach out to me. In terms of the glossary 10 term, and then we've got the PRD checklist. But we're going to give that to you in a second, and then we can move on to the next.
Cool. And just as an FYI, this would be part of your, support resources for the breakouts, which Petra would be walking you through in more detail as when we get through it. Good.
You can use Cursor as well, yeah. I don't know if it's as full-fledged as Lovable, but yeah, Cursor does do very similar things, AI coding. That was for Daria, who asked that question.
Just an addition on Cursor. Cursor is quite expensive on the credits rates. So, in terms of which one to be having a better appetite, Cursor comes down just because of the rates and stuff around that. But it's a full-fledged engineering development tool that you can do end-to-end, complete front and back end coding.
Yep. So yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad you mentioned that. That's super important. So here's an example that I said that I built. I'll put the it's beta. You can use it and log in and sign up and get your coaching card. But if you type in vibecoaching.ai, you will see that I built a full front end, which is the website homepage that you log in. That's what Lovable or Replit will do for you. But don't think that that's built all the code and tables and features behind the scenes. It will give you a really cool landing page. Some of it might be, but it won't be clickable. If you click it, it won't do anything. It's just a fancy design. Then you've got to build the back end. I don't spend too much time building the front end because what's the point? That can be done in 10, 15 minutes. But you want to spend most of your time building the back end stuff, which is getting the features to work. So when you upload a file, can you even upload it? And you might find that it doesn't accept certain document PDFs, but it only accepts Word. Then you've got to debug and just start coding a bit more and giving instructions to the app. So I think we can now probably start the demo.
Yep.
And I think I'll share my screen.
Yes, go for it. So, I would stop sharing.
Yeah, we'll do entire screen. That's fine. Can you see that? Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, great. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. So I always have two tabs open. I have the my ChatGPT there, and I always toggle between that and my Lovable page. So this is what Lovable looks like, where at the moment I've currently got 205 credits. Usually in a free app you might get 20 or so, 10 or 20 credits. So that's how many I've got. But I'm going to come back to that in a second to answer the previous question. I usually start with ChatGPT. So are we doing just the FAQ app, Supriya, or is it going to be like a full onboarding solution?
The FAQ for the onboarding, so which
Yeah.
fits into that overall onboarding ecosystem. So
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And this is for people to ask, so for employees to ask certain questions on and
yes,
manage.
absolutely. So it's like part of the overall onboarding phase,
Yeah.
but the first point of contact, rather than trying to get in touch with people, because obviously you'll not know everybody in the company back then. So
Yeah.
it's like instead of routing questions here and there, put it on this system that the application is going to give you the first level answers and then route you to the right point of contacts. So that's the kind of objective.
So I could have actually recorded you using the record function, and then that would have fed into the prompt. But so I'm doing it completely live, right? So I want to create an onboarding, FAQ app, which allows employees inside. If you've got if you mention your company name, if you've got it, because what it will do is it will pull from the website and it will start to tailor and customize. So it's on my company to get.
Basically in the first weeks, right? So in terms of, be it what are my leave policies, whom do I reach out if I need access to Jira or something like this, which is like more common right away day to days that you need, but you don't really know whom to reach out to for every single question. So perhaps giving such examples would also be helpful.
Yeah. So you will see here that I'm actually telling it which tool I'm going to use as well, because it will pull the schema from the internet. If you're using cursor, replace it with cursor. And then I'm going to say, I want to build a simple 8-step user flow. First, which I will turn into a PRD. That's very fast typing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that prompt into the chat so you can have it there. And then I'm going to click first. So, okay, so there we go. So it will do that obviously very, very quickly. So we'll just wait for that to come out. And what I'm going to do here while it's doing is you shouldn't rely on whatever it spits out. So I'm going to look at this and say, do I actually agree with this user flow? So, and then I will probably change a few things when I copy and paste it. So entry point, user lands on the app, web or mobile. No login initially. Okay, well, I don't know. I think I disagree. Maybe we might want to have a login, right? So clear prompt, what do you need help with today? Okay, I like that. Instead of making users think, guide them immediately, show 4 to 6 common intents. I love that. So you can feed it like what would be, tiles that can be easily clickable. What are the most common questions that people will ask? What are the most common areas that people need help with? Yeah. A natural language input, clips a suggestion or types of question, instant answer. Yeah, contextual actions. Yeah, that all sounds good. You can even then ask it. So this is a really cool principles that is already developed. So don't make users browse answers first, etc. Then it will tell you. It will ask you what you want to do next. I can help you turn this into a PRD structure with acceptance criteria. So acceptance criteria is another glossary term, which isn't in our glossary actually, but we probably could add it. Acceptance criteria are the top things that the app must meet. And if it doesn't, it will fail. And you can feed that into Lovable or Cursor or whatever, and it will make sure that it absolutely designs what you've asked for. Or a Lovable ready prompt to generate the app. So what I will do now, I will say, I want login access to be given, and I want to be able to select language as we operate. Yeah. So then it will just edit that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the PRD design that I've already built as a template, and then I'm going to, bear a second, there we go. So if I take that document and I put it there, oh, it's still doing its thing, so I'll edit it right. So let it just finish, because what I'm going to do next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the product requirement document that you can just simply input in and say, using this PRD template, and this is the one that I think Petra shared in the chat already. And so once you're happy with so this is very fast and furious, obviously, right? But you're going to interrogate this a bit more. So once you're happy with the user workflow and you've tested it and you've interrogated it and you're happy, then you're going to turn that user workflow, the 8 steps, into a full-fledged product requirement document. So just to show you what that looks like, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to select that. So this is the what the PRD should ideally really include. What the business problem is that you're trying to address. And in this case, I've tried to make it relevant to onboarding, so it feels like relevant to you. Who are the users and stakeholders? So keeping in mind, the user workflow, you don't need to go into a lot of detail. That's what the PRD is for. Who are the users? Which country do are they in? What's their persona? What's their motivation? That's the PRD. Remember, in the user workflow, you're just coming up with 8 steps that someone needs to go through at the very, very high level. And then your core user journey, features. What features do you want? Do you want a checklist? Do you want some learning modules? Do you want to be able to track when you last came into the app? Do you want it to pick up where you left off? You may think that these are things that just come into our minds, but actually, every single feature that you want, you should bring it in. Do you want a dashboard? How intuitive do you want it? I think someone also said, making sure that you build layer upon layer. So that's what the PRD is. We don't need to go through it now but I just wanted you to take a glance at it quickly. In your breakouts, you're going to get plenty of time to go through it. So don't worry. If you feel this is a bit fast and furious and you would like to stop somewhere, don't worry. We've got you covered. We're gonna help you go through in a bit more detail shortly. So here we go. So using this PRD, I want you to take the user flow above and yeah. So it's going to do that in the background and we'll see what it produces for us. Yeah, so you can see already it's starting to populate it with a very tailored app based on the user flow. It's already started to put in some potential success metrics as well. So you can think about whether that's something that you want to build in that way. So primary users, it's pre-allocated new hires, first 0 to 90 days. That probably makes sense. Because I said that we're a global company, so it's picked up global workforce will be the primary users, multi-country, multi-language. Who will be the secondary users? Again, PRD is a place where you want to start testing this. What I would do is I also wouldn't build this in isolation. So I would speak to your managers, your first line managers, your people ops, whoever else is going to be involved with you in the journey to get their feedback and let them know that you're building something like this so that ask them what their pain points are, run a focus group so that they can really see that you have built something that's actually going to then be worthwhile. Then you've got MVP. So what was said earlier, MVP is a minimum viable product. So this just means that what are the basic things that you need to have. I know that we as L&D people, we might get so ambitious that we might start adding and face a bit of scope creep. But just get the basic level that you think you'd like. And that's going to be really cool because once you've got a basic prototype, that will build so much confidence and excitement. And then you can pilot it, you can roll it out in one location with a group of 10 hires and then see how that goes. So I'm not gonna go through that necessarily. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and copy that, and then I'm going to go into the Lovable screen. So with Lovable, you can attach files now. Before you can only attach images. You can also feed it with the screenshots as well. And then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna give it a very specific prompt now. So I'm gonna say I want you to build me an onboarding FAQ app using the below PRD. You could save the PRD in a document, but I'm just gonna paste it into this actual browser here. So using the below PRD, I want to focus more on the back end, step by step. I don't have any versions yet. So I'm going to tell you what these things mean in a second. All right. So whilst it's doing that, I'm going to click send. Oh, clearly it was a very large. Okay, yeah. So it's now moving into the design view. So I just want to let you know what Superbase is. So the first thing I already gave it an instruction that I did not want to focus on the front end. Because what Lovable will start doing is it will start building you the front page first, which is great to see visually, but you want it to focus on the features first. I also said that I don't want to do any integration with Superbase. Superbase is the tool that stores your data. So if you, and allows you to create tables and things like that. Now that's really, really important because we can't save data in Excel sheets. So Superbase allows you to do that. It pulls out all of your information, creates data, and more crucially, provides you what is called row level security, which is data protection. Because if you're going to get people logging in and you want to, give their email addresses, the last thing you want is for this link to become public and data to start to be immediately accessible from the web. So Superbase allowed you to do that. The reason why I asked it not to prioritize that yet is because it will start asking you to do those integrations now, and that will confuse you. So you don't need to do it now. Once you've built everything and then you're ready to test it, only then should you do the integration with Superbase. You can get a free account with Superbase, and when you start to use a lot of apps and a lot of users, then you need to pay for Superbase. Otherwise, you just need to pay for ChatGPT and a tool like Lovable. And when you start to get really big and a lot of projects, then you need to pay for Superbase. Superbase is also native in Lovable. So what that basically means is that you don't it's automatically connected. You can, from within Lovable, you need to go outside of Lovable to create the account on Superbase. But then in order to connect it, so the Superbase is where all your data is stored, yeah? In order to do that, you can do it from within Lovable, connect it all. So hopefully that will make sense as you start to see it. So it's now editing the user interface components. And very soon, it's going to be really cool. You will be able to see a cool mock. You can also let this be and enable notifications, and then it will send you a message or it will make a sound when the work has finished. Now, feel free to take screenshots if you like of this, not a problem. Any second now, it's going to show us a preview, and you can move between preview page and this coding page as well. So let's see what it's saying now. All right, so let's go to viewing our preview. So here we go. So here is the preview page already. I mean, it's so cool, right? Like it's already given you a front landing page. This is the front end. So based on what we fed in, that we wanted tiles, we wanted to have immediate quick access to leave policies, IT access, etc. That's what it's built. It's allowed a login here at the top right. You can search. So that search, so just immediate quick search shows that the search bar already works. If I type in leave, it's searching and pulling up the right result. What you might find when you're debugging, so I'm already debugging. Debugging means just testing. So I've already tested the front end just very, very quickly. I like to just test, did it produce something that I like? So by putting in leave, it has brought up at least one search result for leave. I'm going to type in Slack and see, does it bring up the relevant things? You might find it brings up some search results, but it doesn't. The other. When you click onto each one, it actually is doing a lot better than, I mean, I haven't used Lovable for 3 weeks, and in 3 weeks already, it has improved quite a lot. So before, if I click back to search at the top there, and if I click these links, normally these will not be clickable. It wouldn't take you anywhere, but it's really cool that it's already gone beyond basic front page image into a particular clickable design. So that's effectively it. Your publish button at the top right will allow you to go live with the link. And it's a URL, just like you send a Zoom link or a Google Hangout link. That's what the URL would be. It's like a project page. What we then want to do is to start to build this further is, I will say, so you see at the top, at the bottom left there now, the screen is now split. So I'm now going to say, I want to see the user login page. Has that been created? When I click on Alex Johnson as the fake name, so at the top right there, when I clicked it, that didn't do anything. Everything else did. Everything else was clickable. But when I click on Alex Johnson, it doesn't allow me to log in. And that's how I'm already debugging, right? Just testing it. So I'm asking it the questions, and the best way to treat these prompts is act like you're speaking to somebody. So could you check that for me? Okay. So it's now going to tell me whether is this a dummy name or whether there's actual backend functionality with the user login page created. So it's now going to test that. And if it hasn't, it will say, oh, we didn't actually create it. We're now gonna create it. And if you see, I can see you're clicking around the header area where Alex Johnson is displayed. There is no login page yet. Yeah, so so I've asked it the question. It's told me, and it's great because I can see you clicking around. Again, 3-4 weeks ago, Lovable could not do this. It can tell where you're clicking so that it can see, where the failure is happening. Before it would tell me, could you take a screenshot? Or could you tell me where you're clicking? Now it knows exactly where you're clicking. So then it says, so there's another term called hard-coded. So you will see here, hard-coded, that word. Hard-coded means that it's not a variable term, right? So if I take, what do you need help with? What do you need help with at the top of the screen might be hard-coded, meaning that even if I change pages, that what do you need help with will never change. It's hard-coded, it's fixed. A variable code is where whenever you upload any new data, things will automatically change with it. So what it's saying is Alex Johnson is not a real person, it's hard-coded. It doesn't vary with every new unique user. It's not unique, it's hard-coded. So it's asking me, let me know, would you like me to build a login page? So a mock login with email, with no real authenticated use yet. So auth yet, so this word here, that means authenticated. Authenticated means logged in users. Unauthenticated means you don't need to log in. And that's another term that I had to learn. If you want no logins, then you can compute that in your user workflow on PRD that we want this to be accessible with unauthenticated access, meaning we don't want any logins. But if you want authenticated access, we want logins. Make Alex Johnson clickable to show a simpler panel. So we'll do a quick vote here. Let me know in the chat, which of these two options do you want me to do? Do you want to build a proper login page, or do you want to do option number 2? So tell me option 1 or 2, and I'll do that. Option 1. Okay, option 1's a clever. Okay. It feels a bit like a bit of Netflix, when you could click which scene or you watch next in the movie. Interactive movies. All right, cool. So simple, do option 1. And here's another quick tip that I'll give you. And then we're going to open up the breakout rooms, which is do option 1, build this feature in isolation, keep all other functionality intact. So what this means is, what I noticed when I was vibe coding is I'd get something super perfect after spending weeks on it, and then I move on to another feature. But by building that feature, it would break the first feature. Okay. And what I learned is that when you give it the instruction to build it in isolation, it ring fences each feature. So that if something breaks in that one, it won't affect the first feature, and so on. So I'm giving it the software language, development language. So I'll do option 1, and it will do. Hopefully that gives you enough of a feel on how to get started. You've got the prompts, you've got the PRD, you've got the glossary. I think we're probably ready to open up the breakout rooms, Supriya. Well, hopefully that was okay. Any other sort of thoughts, questions you think that we should cover?
That was really, really helpful, Saad. Thank you so much for walking us through. We feel quite enabled with the resources. We are good to try them hands-on, I hope. But before getting into the breakouts, I would be more than happy to kind of have a 5-minute break for us to kind of digest all of this in and come back slightly refreshed to check out what we have got in terms of the gaming and also the breakouts, and we can get on with that. So we are at 40, wherever you are in the region, so I'm not telling the timeline. So the next 5 minutes, and we can come back for the next piece of the session.
Sadly, I have to jump off, as you know, Supriya, to collect my kids from school. But it's been great hanging out with you. And I'm sorry that was a very fast, fun activity, but hopefully we could do another session as a follow-up. And if anyone wants feedback from me on their prototypes, I said to Supriya that you can share your links with me and I can give you real-time feedback. So don't worry at all, yeah? Take care, everyone.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Saad. Thank you so much.
See you. Bye-bye. Have fun.